with their manager, but their manager can't break down processes like an SAP trainer can.
Because you never know. Some people may just take off running to the next spot down the street and work there because they're just feeling overworked. Welcome to Sustain Train. My name is Alfred.
And I'm Xavier.
And today, we're going to be uncovering a topic that's going to be a little bit controversial, but we're here to pull back the veil so that we can provide a little bit more transparency for these customers. That topic is train the trainer. Train the trainer sounds convincing. You know, a lot of customers are pitched this topic, this offering a lot of times. It sounds good, but there's some risks that come with it. So we're here to just teach you some of those risks so you can be aware in the future if you have to, go down this crossroad and maybe have to make some decisions on train the trainer. But before we get started, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe so you can stay in tune with everything we're bringing to the table. All right, Xavier, before we really dive deep into this, go ahead and give the audience an intro. Let them know what exactly is train the trainer.
Got you. So train the trainer, as we know, is when you take one consultant or one trainer, such as ourselves, and you're responsible for going into an organization and teaching one of their members of their leadership team. Mm-hmm. And that particular leader is then responsible for taking what they learned and dissecting that and training the same end users within their respective organizations. Mm-hmm. So I like to say, think of it as you have your production planner or production manager, your warehouse manager, and your customer service manager. Me as an independent consultant, I would come in and I am responsible for training each one of those leaders. That leader then is responsible for training everyone in their department.
Right.
So they become the subject matter expert, so to speak, to train that end user. Now, what that does is it allows you to scale fairly quickly. You don't have to worry about bringing in a full training team. Mm-hmm. So you don't need a SD trainer and an EWM trainer and a production planning trainer and all of that. So you're limiting the amount of trainers you have to build in for one, which is going to affect your bottom line. You're not going to have to spend as much money. Yeah. And in addition to that, you're ramping up a lot quicker than you would with having individual trainers for every individual module. Mm-hmm. Because that we know that could take, sometimes on a good project, 5 weeks. Sometimes it could be 12 weeks. But with a trainer-trainer approach, you can kind of shorten that time frame to overall increase your bottom line because you're not going to be spending as much and you're not going to require as much bandwidth from everybody else. The timing is ideal. So I feel like that's why the concept is pitched to these customers and that, a lot of these customers jump right in when it comes to that train-to-trainer model.
Right. And there's always a trade-off when you're talking about money, right?
Always.
Especially when you're talking about taking the cheapest route, there's going to be some trade-off. You are trading off quality for speed, or budget savings, but you're not going to get the experience that you truly need with your end users to make sure that adoption sticks. Yeah. And with trainer, one of the things that come to mind for me is the telephone game. Gotcha. When you're a kid, your teacher tells you, everybody stand in line, right. We're going to play this thing called the telephone game. The teacher tells the first student in the line a message, right? Mm-hmm. And that student has to relay that message to the next student and so forth. Right. By the time the last person receives that message, it's totally different, right?
Whole different message.
Totally different. So trainer is exactly just that.
Yeah.
As you mentioned.
I agree.
And what that does is puts a lot of pressure on these people that's getting secondhand messages to go out and perform with this new system that they have no clue. They never worked in it. Yeah, they know the old system. Yes, they're familiar with operations. Right. But you never touched this part of SAP before. Right?
Bingo.
So you don't need to be standing up in front of a class trying to train this software. you need to be sitting in them seats being trained yourself.
You don't know it to train.
Exactly. Just because you help with testing, because you was identified as like you said, subject matter experts.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you're ready to train. That means you are helping out to make sure that whatever mishaps were going on in the system were caught, the defects could be resolved so that when y'all go live, the system is good to go.
Right.
That's all dandy and everything, but it does not put you in a position to, first of all, have the experience and the confidence to get in front of a class and train them on this new tool. So, yeah, you want your subject matter experts to take ownership, all that good stuff. I agree on that.
Yeah.
But you want to take it slow. Don't put too much on their plate to where they're feeling pressure. Because you never know. Some people may just take off running to the next spot down the street and work there because they're just feeling overworked.
Yep.
So just go ahead and keep that in mind. As we pull back this veil, just pay attention. We got a lot to tell you about.
Right.
Take us away, Xavier.
Is your organization still using ECC?
And if so, why are you still using ECC? You know that deadline's approaching and SAP is not playing. They are not going to support you. That's why we want to tell you more about Pathways, your roadmap to sustainment. Change management, check. Training development, check. Training facilitation, check. Hypercare support, check.
Sustainment,
check.
Contact Altech Consulting today. We don't just train,
we sustain.
For sure. So the $1 million question is, man, what is it about this train-the-trainer model that causes so many implementations to fail, for one?
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, what are the real risks that these organizations are going to face when they buy into this train-the-trainer model?
Right. I got one more analogy for you. Because I think that sometimes when you make it a little bit more relatable with these messages, people can grasp it a little easier.
Most definitely.
So I have a cousin whose wife was about to give birth. As she's in labor, they bring in this new assistant, this new doctor, rather, didn't have the experience. The doctor suggested, they even asked her, like, is it okay if we bring in this new trainer or this new doctor, rather, to help with the delivery?
Oh, no.
And so she said yes, and she said this before as well on the first baby. And it didn't go exactly how they really wanted to go. But I guess under pressure, you're not thinking clearly. She said yes. And now this new assistant that doesn't have the experience as the actual doctor,
right,
is in that position where they have, your baby and your life in their hands without the experience.
It's a little scary, man.
It's scary. And what ended up happening is the baby got stuck in a position where the baby couldn't come out.
Gotcha.
And now everybody in the room is panicking. And this new person is not equipped. They haven't been in this position before.
Never been there.
And they're panicking silently.
Yeah.
And so they eventually called their doctor in there, hey, we need your help. We need your help. And so they got him back on track. That's a little bit extreme because you're talking about somebody's life.
Right.
But it's the same idea. You don't want to put people in position into these roles so prematurely where they're not equipped for what they have to handle.
Yeah.
Because it could be detrimental to your organization. The same way as with my cousin's wife that was giving birth.
For sure.
It could derail the whole family, just like it can derail your whole organization.
Right.
The whole project can go downhill if your people are not ready. You invest all this money into the product, into the software, but you didn't spend that same consistency and time with your people.
It's really
like, what are you
simple.
doing it for?
Exactly.
So these are some of the things you just want to watch out for when you are pitched this trainer. One more example before I give it back to you, Xavier.
Yeah.
I was on a project one time, and I'll make this story quick.
Handle your business, man.
So they brought me onto this project to be the trainer that's going to come in and train their subject matter expert. And what happened was they were so focused on doing this, it was hard to convince them otherwise. So I went ahead and agreed to it.
Gotcha.
After getting them up to speed and everything, we went to end user training. When it's time to train their people on site, I was there to make sure they didn't, fall flat on their face.
Yeah.
I wanted to be there to support them. I actually wanted to help train, but I had to respect, boundaries and not step on any toes.
What they wanted to set up, you had to apply by. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I get there, these same subject matter experts that seemed so confident in the room was teaching me to an extent, right? But they get up in front of that classroom and they can't deliver that message that same way. It's just not clicking.
Game. It's a different ball game.
It's just not clicking. And so I had to travel actually between two sites.
Yeah.
So I could only be in one place at one time. So the other site that I wasn't at, those folks would be there solo. Those leaders trying to train their end users, and it just wasn't up to par.
Nah.
So when I would fly back to the other site and realize, that they're struggling, I'm like, man, I need to get up there and start training. And before I could even say it, they told me, hey, get up there and start training. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So I was like, sure, I got you. And so as I started training and following the quick reference guides with these end users, things started to stick, They were becoming more confident. Light bulbs started going off in their heads. Yeah. They're grasping the content, understanding the processes, and it was just a much better experience for them. And then they're like, man, how come last week wasn't like this? It's because they just weren't in the position to get trained by somebody that had the right experience.
Yeah.
No fault to that subject matter expert because they were put in that position in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? But we just don't want to set them up for failure. And so just want to keep that in mind as you're possibly approaching this trainer model because there's a lot of risks that go into it.
Got you. Well, based off of those examples and everything that you said about that, for me, trainer sounds like a recipe for disaster, to put it quite frankly. One thing I would even go further to say is that when you focus on these subject matter experts, right, which could be that manager of that particular department, you're telling me they have to focus on their day-to-day functions, manage their team, and then provide their team training on an ERP system.
Right.
Within an 8-hour workday.
That's too much.
Way too much. It's impossible to do. And to do that at a high level, it's not going to happen. So that's why I say it's a recipe for disaster. They don't have the bandwidth, for one, and they're not trainers. So honestly, you would think that, let's put it like this. Poor training equals poor adoption. It's no fault of their own. They're being tasked with this from upper management. Right. So they have to do their job at the end of the day. But for me, that's going to result in poor training, which is going to result in poor adoption from the end users. That's going to increase your post-go live tickets that need to be handled by IT and things of that nature. Your users are going to be frustrated. They're not going to trust the system because they don't understand the system. How can they? They weren't in direct training with a consultant such as Alfred or myself. They are in a training where they have the buy-in with their manager, but their manager can't break down processes like an SAP trainer can. In addition to lost trust in the system, you're going to run into some business disruptions because if they're not up to par of training, how can they perform? So it becomes less of train the trainer and more of tell the trainee.
Exactly.
You're telling them what to do and just dumping information on them, but without any context. And again, I'll keep saying it, that's a recipe for disaster.
They're set up for failure.
Right. Any at all times.
So now that we expose some of those hard truths about trainer, go ahead and give the people an alternative option to this approach.
Most definitely. So one of the things that you can do instead of that is focus on professional facilitators.
Right.
Those that can train in how to teach versus how a system works. There's a big difference. Any implementation team, somebody from the implementation team can come in and tell you how the system works.
Right.
They can't necessarily train you on the background and the why behind it, which is why they rely on a trainer. It's really that simple. So The other things that you can focus on is making it all inclusive. Bring your end users in with your subject matter experts that you're saying are SMEs. Bring them in with management. Have it in one classroom. They're all in that same facility, in that same room, going through the same training. It's all inclusive at that point.
Yeah.
That way you're not relying on someone in your organization to foot the bill, basically, and sit through a train-to-trainer session only to be overwhelmed and try to go to an end user within their organization and build them up. It's just not going to happen that way. In addition to that, design your training based on role.
Right.
It shouldn't just be generic because you're not working generically. I don't need to know every aspect of it. I need to know how to get through my daily functions and how my business processes apply to what we're learning with SAP.
Yeah.
If we can focus on that, my retention rate is going to be much higher than a generic training. Mm-hmm. We've seen it happen. So build your content out based on role, and in addition, have a super user network. But you can't build a super user network if it's a trainer model. Because how can you identify those super users if they're not in the training with that actual professional facilitator? Mm-hmm. That's my 2 cents on that, man.
Hey, just to add to that, man, I'm just now thinking, if you're putting these subject matter experts in this position prematurely like that, they are not equipped even to troubleshoot issues. So if they're training an end user on the topic, and especially if they're trying to do hands-on training, which they should, they're doing hands-on training in the system, and somehow the end user presses the wrong button or gets off track, how's that subject matter expert going to bring them back on track? They can't troubleshoot the system.
Nope.
So, just keep that in mind. And just to go a little bit further past that, you're giving them alternative options. I'm just going to take a step back and say, we understand that there are budget constraints.
Right.
And sometimes there's pressures to go ahead and implement or upgrade your system. But even with that, that's where the pressure comes in to do trainer, for one.
Right.
You make it desperate options, taking desperate matters over a decision because you're under pressure.
Yeah.
So trainer sounds enticing, and you end up making these decisions to do that. So if you absolutely must go down that route, I just want to give you a couple more tips. For one, make sure that whoever is doing that training for your end users, check them out. Make sure that they are not too highly technical. Make sure they can really relay the message. There are some trainer options out here where they will put one of their technical consultants or functional consultants in place to train your people. And sometimes they're just too highly technical that they can't relay the message properly like a trainer can. So with that in mind, going forward past that, make sure that they have all the work instructions created, all the QRGs, so that you're ready to train your people and that you've already caught up on the content that you need to know.
Right.
Make sure there's not any gaps in that work instruction that you're reviewing. On top of that, just make sure that your people are ready. Check in with them. Don't just let this trainer, or this expert at the system come in and just say, oh yeah, they're ready. Let's go ahead, sign off. No.
Can't trust it.
Trust yourself and ask those tough questions. Check in with your subject matter experts and really see if they're confident in moving forward. If not, don't sign off on this. Make sure that those folks that are training y'all's people or training your subject matter experts, make sure that they have done their full job. Because as soon as you sign off, you're saying, all right, when my organization production takes a tumble, you're going to have to point the finger back at you. It was your fault. You signed off on something and agreed to something that your people weren't ready for.
Yeah.
And so I just say, really do your due diligence. There's a lot of risks that come in with training a trainer. And again, only do this if your budget is super tight and you just must go through this rollout. Yeah. Otherwise, like Xavier said, the smarter approach is to get you a training team that is equipped, that can take on this responsibility. So even interview them and make sure that they are knowledgeable in these different roles. Because a lot of times, these different companies, they give the trainer community a bad rep.
Yeah.
They come in and say that they're equipped, but they really are only organizational change managers.
Totally different.
They are not true trainers. They don't know the system back and front. Mm-mm. They can't really go in and create hands-on training data and take your team through step by step on what to do.
Right.
So just really make sure that you check off these boxes when you're making these big decisions. It's too much risk into it.
It still just goes back to accountability. Mm-hmm. Have that trainer or that consultant provide what's necessary until you are satisfied as an organization. And I promise you, if you're holding them to that standard, you're going to get exactly what you need out of that situation. But a trainer, that accountability falls back on you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't want that. But as an independent consultant at Altech, we stand behind our brand.
Exactly.
We want that accountability because we know that that's the separator between us and the competition. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys for riding with us on this episode of Sustain Train. Today, we just kind of pull back the veil on what the train the trainer model is, how it tends to entice certain customers, some of the pitfalls you might run into, and then some of the things that you can do instead of train a trainer that can still set your organization up for success.
Yes.
So from us to you, if you're planning a system rollout and you think train the trainer is the answer, I ask that you pause, rewind this episode, and what we want to tell them, rethink your strategy.
Right.
So if you found value in today's conversation, please hit that like button, share and subscribe. And until next time, stay inspired, stay empowered, and stay on track with Sustain Train.